This week we're about to get really wild with the American crocodile, the only crocodile species found in Jamaica. Hope Zoo's Joey Brown joins us again to tell us about this animal.
You guys are going to meet Samson, one of our adult male American crocodiles. He's about 70, 80 years, so they're very long living, you know, live just as long as people can. And they are usually, you can tell Samson's in here by himself, they're usually quite solitary animals, you know, so they usually don't live in very big groups, but sometimes they'll live with a female as they pair up and get ready for breeding season. So Samson's about, he's almost pushing 13 feet, he's probably around 600 pounds. They can be quite territorial, so usually a large male will have his area of the river or his area of the pond. And so they're just kind of protective of that and protective of the females they're possibly trying to breed with. Our American crocodiles here in Jamaica, this is the only croc species found here in Jamaica, can reach probably around 14, 15 feet for males. Females typically only around 11 or 12 feet. They actually make great ocean swimmers as well. They spend a lot of time in salt water. So they're very capable of traveling through the ocean, you know, going out hunting in the ocean. So it's not uncommon, it's actually more common to see them in salt water or even like kind of marshy, saline, brackish water. That's why they're often seen around mangroves and some of Jamaica's more pristine habitat. They're typically found all around the south coast.
Should we be concerned about like adaptation and like am I going to expect to go to the beach and see crocodiles?
I think you just need to be kind of smart. Like there's obviously certain areas around Jamaica where crocodiles are more prevalent. And so in those areas where if there's a beach or ocean, you just need to be more kind of considerate. Like one, at nighttime swimming around a crocodile area, I would never do. You know, it's just it's way too dangerous. That's when they're most active.
What do they eat?
Mainly meat. So our crocodiles here in Jamaica are eating mainly birds, fish, shrimp, crabs, you know, mainly small prey items that live kind of near the water. Misinformation about them is like they're these man-eaters. They're actually very shy and skittish and kind of want nothing to do with people. I know, believe it or not. We studied them in the wild and they're hard to even get close to because as soon as they see us, they just swim off and take away. A lot of times when someone does get hurt, it's usually humans that are threatening them, you know, trying to hunt them or kill them.
How much food do they need for sustenance?
Typically they'll eat once every 1 to 2 weeks, but even in the colder months, they can easily go a couple months without eating. So they can eat a bunch of food at once and that can last them weeks and weeks. So daytime is their resting period, and then at nighttime, that's when they come out and they're a bit more active and moving around and hunting and stuff.
So that's why they're never doing anything when we come to the zoo?
Yeah, so people always come to the zoo and they're like, oh, is that a statue or is it even alive? I'm like, yeah, they're actually just sleeping. Or they're sleeping kind of with their mouths open. And so people usually interpret, oh, they have their mouth open, they're ready to attack something. Very false. Actually, they sit with their mouths open because that's how they regulate their body temperature. Because they can't sweat to cool down their temperature, they actually open their mouths where there's a lot of blood vessels, and that allows them to cool down their body temperature. So one of my favorite kind of cool facts, see on the back, they have those kind of bony structures going down their back. Those are called osteoderms, which are kind of like bony little scutes that kind of go all around their body. Although they do act as like protective body armor, they have blood vessels in there that allow or trap heat in their body. And then when you get those cool nights, they can constrict the blood vessels in there and trap that heat in their body, which allows them to stay warm throughout the night.
How do they communicate? Like, I've never heard a crocodile.
They actually make some pretty cool vocalizations. Typically it's by males during the breeding season or if they're marking their area. The males will do kind of what's called a bellow or a rumble, where they'll kind of like rumble in the water and it actually vibrates the water. And you can hear it from very far away. And they'll also do head slaps. So they'll take their jaw and slap it against the water really loud, and you can hear it from all over. That's usually a male kind of saying, hey, this is my space, I'm the king around here. Our baby crocodiles can actually make cute little sounds, usually in distress or calling for mom. And so if the mom hears that, she quickly comes around and helps them out.
How often do they reproduce?
They reproduce usually about once a year, once they're at sexually mature age. Females can lay anywhere from 20 to 60 eggs at a time. And then those eggs are actually incubated in a nest underground for around 80 to 100 days.
How many of them typically survive?
You know, it's hard to say exactly. Let's say you have 60 newborn hatchlings. There may be even 10 or 20 of those that actually survive. When they're born, they come out and they're just a couple inches long, you know, so, there's birds that can eat them, there's large fish that can eat them. They're very vulnerable to predators.
How can I differentiate between a crocodile and an alligator?
The easiest one by physically looking at them is their snout. So crocodiles typically have a more pointy V-shaped snout, and then alligators have a more wider U-shaped snout. So in all, the crocodilian order, there's about 29 species of crocodiles. But for alligators, they're American alligator, and there's also a Chinese alligator, which is found in China. And then crocodiles are found all throughout the world. You know, obviously the Caribbean, Africa, Australia, and then you have the caiman species that are found all throughout South America. But crocodiles and alligators, the easiest one is by looking at their snout.
How much does it cost to maintain?
They're not too hard to maintain, and we have a good relationship with CB, Caribbean Broilers, where they actually will donate us chicken quite often to help keep these guys, you know, eating. You know, we are a non-profit zoo, so we try to get as much help as we can.
So that's it for this week's Wild Adventure. Join us again next week to learn about the animals here at Hope Zoo. Until then, I'm Kelsey.
I'm Joey.
Go wild.